maybe adding in some like NPCs, some non-player characters, and see if we can kind of add that component into it with so it's the hero or the person, the main player has someone to or something to interact with to kind of further the storyline along. So just to reiterate what we kind of worked on through the last two sessions. And like I said, when I build my code out, I kind of move sequentially from left to right. So and I kind of lay it down. So if I have any issues, I can kind of go back through the code and be like, okay, that was the part of the code where I was, building out the room with the two levers, and I can kind of like have it set out in front of me as kind of a placemat that I can go back in and pull out pieces of code and put them back in and kind of reorganize it, because it can get pretty like we're looking at like maybe, I don't know, 4 hours of kind of going from nothing to where we are now. And if you continue down that road, it gets like massive. Like your code will start to fill up your entire page. And as you start to hit errors, you want to be able to like troubleshoot back through your, I guess you'd call it almost like a timeline of what you built and when. So I generally go from left to right when I'm building. Sometimes you can't avoid like going back, and if you're adding like variables, something at the very start of your code here, you can't avoid putting it in the start of your code. But generally, like I said, I'm building from left to right. I find that's probably the easiest way to go. So I'm just going to, the best way to do it is just to click play here and see where we are. So I've got my little wizard, and I think we set last time with our animations running from left to right, although when he idles, he stays in the same spot. So left and right, and then come down, and we were coming down to the choices here on this tile. And now I can't remember. I think it was the right lever was the one that was, one was a dart and one was I'm pretty sure the right lever was the one that opened up the next level. So let's click on that, and a secret room. And this was, now actually, if you recall what we were working on last time, this is actually a total new tile map. This is not even the same tile map. It switches it so fast you can't see it, which is kind of nice. And then down here, the door opens up and we head down our walkway and we head to like this chest, and we haven't really talked about doing anything with that yet. As you recall, you can see the lava on either side. I can't go into it. You could have it so you could use an overlap event on this so that the lava, oh, I'm going to hide this on the bottom. The lava, when the player touches it, it would be game over. But I would not, I would say that's probably not a good idea, because even if your character's off 1 pixel, it will destroy the player. So when we were talking about this kind of secret room that you see with the lava on the side, which is, I'm going to come over to where it is. It's right here on my tile map. I'm going to zoom in. We placed wall blocks all along the side here and here to make sure that they didn't fall in. So that was something we worked on. So here, this code here got a little bit more complicated. So we were talking about when it overlap the trigger here, we kind of have what's called a cutscene, which was a story extension that we added on, and we had our choice. So if I choose the left lever, and the other choice was the right lever, which was a secret room. If you recall, I kind of got into this a tiny bit last time with the element value right here. So this was, we had to erase all of that lava and get rid of it. And that lava, if you recall, and I know this is a bit convoluted, but was this right here. This was the array that built all our lava out, and we had to destroy it because we created a new tile map. So I'm just going to put that there. And once that was done, then I recreated the new tile map. I called the function called lava make again, which was makes all the lava in the correct area. And then I think we added this in together. Actually, I froze my sprite. Where was it? I think I froze my sprite somewhere up there, and then I allowed my sprite to move again. Janine, yeah, how's it going?
Can you, oh, good, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the reminder that was sent yesterday
Mhm.
about the session today was with the old and invalid meeting codes.
Oh.
So there might be some people struggling to join because
Oh.
In order to get the right one, you had to go back through your emails to find the correction because the reminder that got sent yesterday was for the old one and incorrect. So just a heads
Okay,
up.
so I was wondering why there was only like 2 people.
That's exactly why. So I had to go back and I emailed some random people about trying to get information. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if
Um,
someone's able to send those out to the people who are registered, the actual proper one,
Yeah,
because
I can do
chances
that
are.
right now.
Thank
So,
you.
so they
This
sent out
is
the wrong one
this is
yesterday?
the one that was sent out yesterday. This is also like the second time in this. So the mini series, the first session, the reminder that was sent out the day before had totally the incorrect times, which is why you had so many
Yeah,
people
yeah,
dipping out early.
oh, what was the
yeah.
times on it?
4:30 so is Pacific time, yeah. So no, Pacific time it was 3:30 till 5
Oh, okay.
instead of 4 to 6.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why there was a bunch of people 86ing really early. So
Got it. Okay.
there's been some like communication challenges. Anyways, I apologize for interrupting, but just wanted to give you a heads up. That's all.
Yeah, no
That's
worries.
great.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you so
info.
much.
Of course.
Cool. Cool. All right, so let's continue on the path right here. So Janine, just if you're just coming in here, I put the code on the side right there of the work that we finished on the last session. So if anyone is behind or didn't complete their work, this is the code that will take you directly to what we're working on right here in the chat. So if you want to grab that right here. Sorry, I can't bring it over.
Sorry, it's just based on when we join. So if you could pop that in one more time, that would be awesome. But if you haven't added anything new
There it is.
since
Did
the
it pop
last,
up?
there it is, perfect. Yeah.
No
If you
worries.
haven't
Oh, I
anything
see.
edit
So it doesn't show up on your
previous
thing in your
historical
text.
chat on,
Got it.
correct. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if you haven't anything new, I'm good to go. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Everything's the same. I was just kind of going over what we were working on before. Cool. All right, so let's continue on. And then our final piece of code, moving from left to right here, was our dart, which overlapped the player and then caused the game to be over. So that leaves us with a whole bunch of blank slate to our right to continue our working on our story and finish off kind of what we're doing. Now, logically, we need to think about the book that we have placed right here or the object that we have placed right here. We want to do something with that, obviously. And um, my one of the first things I get from any student when we're playing a game is can I fire like fireballs or lightning bolts or whatever? Can I launch a projectile from my character? And I say yes at the start. That's not what we're going to do. But when we get to this point right here, we start to talk about things like that because most students want to have something that to protect their character or something their character can launch or something like some kind of projectile. It's just generally, I found every class I've gone in wants that with what they're working on. So it's something I go through up to this point, and then I'm kind of like, okay, let's do it. Now to build that out, we need to do a couple of things. So the first thing we need to do is we need to pick up the book itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into scene right here, which is the tree, and we're going to come down to about here under tile maps. And on sprite of kind player overlaps checkerboard at location, which is the one we've used it many times. We're just going to bring that one out, and I'll zoom in a bit here. I'm a bit far off. I want to make sure everyone can see. So that was under scene, and it was under tile maps right here. So this one right here. And we're going to say when my player overlaps the chest, which is that little chest on the end of the lava row. So when I overlap that, I want to open it. So obviously we want it to look like the chest has been opened up and the player receives something from the chest. So what we're going to do is up on the search bar, rather than trying to like come down here, and let's see if it finds how quickly it finds it. So it might not find it. Let's try set at. Okay, so set at actually works really well. It's our third one down here. So rather than scrolling through our scene here, which I know caused some confusion when we mix this one up with the random tile block, this is the one right here. So we've used this code before, and now what you'll notice here is we don't have the open chest here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add that to our level. Now, where do we want to place it? Well, we want to place it at the location of this chest right here. But you'll notice when I click here, there is no open chest in my designs right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to come back to my tile map right here, which is the tile map that we're on, the tile map that changes over. And we just want to click on it. And I think it's in dungeon, and there it is right there. We have an open chest. So there's a couple different ways to do this, but the best way, I'm just gonna do it a really easy way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump my level out. So I'm gonna make my level a little bit larger. So I'm gonna come down to the corner down here. I'm gonna make my level 25 by 25. So I think I had my level like this before. And I think I put it back to 16 by 16, but let's build it out like this. Now what you're gonna do, take that open chest, the one in the dungeon there, and just pop it down in the corner down here. It doesn't really matter where it is as long as it's on our tile map somewhere. So you can just place that on there. And I'll just give everyone a second. Sorry, I'm gonna jump back to the chat here. I'm just gonna move, I'm using the two monitors here. So I'm just gonna look over on this side and make sure my chat doesn't have anything coming up in it. Does anyone need me to pause or, yeah, no problem. Link is right there. And anyone who's coming in, sorry about the link there. Sounds like I might have the incorrect session on it. So if anyone's joining right now, the link is just down here, and I'll just wait a second if
Sorry,
anyone has
where
any
did
more
you get
questions.
that chest from again? Like,
Oh, the chest is, are you
you
in the
got it.
tile map right now?
Yes, yeah.
It's under dungeon, and it's the
Oh.
second, yeah. Right in
Okay,
dungeon there.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And just place it on your tile map right here. If anyone has any questions, by the way, please open up your mic and chat with me. We're like on our last session here. So let's, rather than me just talking away, I want you guys to, ask your questions now and make sure you're where you want to be and you're up to date. So if anyone has any questions, please ask away. You can totally cut in if you want, if I'm moving too fast. Okay, so we have our chest down in the corner and we're just gonna click done here. Now what you'll notice is once I have that ready to go, I'm just gonna come up to the top and here I can now add my chest in. Now that's to do with the tile map actually having the two different chests on it. Don't worry about that chest right now. We're gonna leave it and not worry about it. So basically when I walk over that chest, it's gonna open it up. Now, that's fine, but that doesn't really do anything. So we want to tell the player, obviously, that they've gotten something. So let's click on game, and we've used this before. If we come down to the bottom, we're just going to show a long text, which is under dialogues way, way, way down here, and bring it out. And I'm going to say you found, you can say whatever you want, magic book, like that. And I'm just going to display that right across the bottom of my window. So once I've got that, that's just kind of like almost like an animation that has no functionality, game mechanic in the game. That is just to tell the player that they've actually got something. Now, the actual mechanic is we actually want to use a Boolean here. And the reason why we want to use a Boolean is because we want to switch from the player not having the magic book to the player having the magic book. Now, you don't have to use a magic book. You can use whatever you want. But I'm going to use a magic book in my what I'm working on right here. So what we're going to do is come over to variables right here. And under variables up on the top, we have the make a variable, which we've used a bunch of times in our game already. And I'm just going to make a variable called magic book, just like that. I'm going to click OK. And now that I have that variable, what I want to do at the very, very start of my game, and like I said, sometimes you got to come way back in your code, way back to here. On the very start of my game, I want to set that variable to false because obviously the character does not have the magic book when they begin their quest in their story. So I'm going to click back on my variables here. I'm going to grab the set magic book. And you'll notice currently the set magic book is an integer, so it's 0. So we need to set it to false. You can see there's our true right there. So that's the blue color, means it's under logic. I'm going to come down to logic all the way down here, and I've got my false Boolean right there. So I've set magic book to false. And I'm just going to pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions about that process or what I'm doing here? Okay, silence
I
means that
arrived a bit
everyone.
late.
Sorry?
I arrived a bit late, so I was
Yeah,
wondering if there's a link to what you've done so far, like
there
sharing.
is. Yeah. Right. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my new project. Give me 1 second. And sorry, I just put one on there. Take this link right here, the one I just put on, the link that's just on the bottom there. And that is exactly where I am right now. So that should have the magic book variable false inside of it. No worries. Cool. Yeah, so for anyone else, you can copy that latest code right there has everything up to date, what we're doing here. So I'm going to come back this way, and I'm come back to this part of my code, and I'm going to here set my magic book to true. So I'm going to, once I open the chest, now this is interesting. You'll see right here it has a warning sign, and I'm going to zoom in on this actually because this is a bug right here. So this is a warning sign because we initially at the very start of our game set our magic book to be a Boolean. And here you're setting the magic book to be an integer. So the computer program's like, I have no idea what's going on. So if you do see a bug on a variable, that could be the cause right there. So as soon as we, sorry, I'm going to back out. I'm way too close in now. We're going to set that to true. So that should fix our error, and you can see the program's happy again. So that's set up. That's good. We've got that set up, but we don't really have, it still doesn't do anything for, launching anything from our character. So what we're going to do is we are going to come over to kind of a new block right here. I don't think we've used this one yet, but we're getting a little more advanced now. So let's delve in. Under the game, the purple circle right here, under gameplay, there's a block called on game update right here. So this is a really cool block. This block basically updates the code every single frame of the game. So if you want to do anything, check for something, this is the block to use. Now you have to be really careful with this block because if you pop this block out and you use it a bunch of times, it's going to be checking multiple things through the game, and you're going to watch the frame rate on your game drop like significantly. The students will be like, well, this is an awesome block. I want to use it all the time. You want to use it sparingly. So once or twice, and you'll actually notice it has a little brother called on game update every 500 milliseconds. You can alter this to 100, 200, 1 second. Once you've used this, you might be able to get away with using it again, but you want to use this one next. This is kind of the next one you want to use if you have to use that again. So I'm gonna drop that back in here. Now, to start out, we want to basically create a system whereby whenever we push a button in a direction, we want the computer to read that. So whenever we push on the right, I want the code to understand that. Whenever I push on the left, like I'm facing down, I want the computer to understand that. So this part we're about to do right here is really, really good for student understanding the logic behind how you're going to build out like a projectile system in your game. So first thing we want to do is we want to come over to our logic because conditionals are the base for pretty much a lot of the stuff we're doing. So I'm going to grab the if true then block, and I'm just going to plunk it in right there like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back into our logic block here, and I'm going to come down to the comparison blocks, which we've used a bunch of times, pull that out and put it in. And I'm going to say if, and I'm going to come down a bit here, and you can see under your variables right here, I have the magic book variable. So I'm going to say if the magic book equals true, and I'm going to come down to the very bottom, that means I have the magic book. I'm going to start to build out like a button system on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into my logic here. I'm going to grab the if true then, and I'm going to say if and you'll notice under the controller button here, there are these kind of comparison brackets that are if a button is pressed. So I can take that out and I can actually put these inside these if blocks. So I'm going to say if the right button is pressed, something's going to happen. So I'm just going to, and I could duplicate that and I could put if the left button is pressed, something is going to happen. But we don't want to do that just yet because we want to do all the hard work in here and just copy the code and run it all the way down. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create 4 variables. I'm going to say if the right button is pressed, I'm going to set right to true. I'm going to set left to false, up to false, and down to false. And this will seem a bit confusing when I first do it, but once we complete it, and there's another piece of code here, it'll like click in your head and be like, oh, this totally makes sense. But for now, just kind of follow along with what I'm going to do. So under variables right here, you need to make 4 variables. One is going to be right, so I'm going to type R for right. One is going to be left, so I'm going to type L for left. One is going to be up, so U for up. And one is going to be D for down. So those are our right, left, up, and down variables. You'll notice the top ones are here, but there's my down, there's my left, there's my right, and there's my up, all sitting inside my variable bank here. And I'll pause for a second here. If anyone has any questions or wants me to slow down or needs the code again, if they want to copy my code, I'm more than happy to pop that in the chat for you. Actually, I will pop it in the chat for you for those that would like it. Let me just pop it in there. And there it is right there. Okay, I'll pause that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to grab the set block. And like I said, this is a bit code heavy, but it'll make a sense in a second. And we're going to drag it out. And we're going to set R, which is the right, because we pushed the right button, to true. So I'm going to grab my logic and I'm going to grab the true block. So when I press the right button, right R equals true, which makes sense, right? I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to duplicate it. And if you've guessed what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set the left to false. I'm going to set the up to false, and then I'm going to set the down to false. So essentially, when my character grabs the magic book, if I press the right button, it sets the R variable to true. Now, the R variable doesn't do anything yet. It's just a variable, and it's being set to true. But the other thing is it automatically sets my other variables to false, which is going to be very handy for the next piece of code we're going to use here, which I'll explain in a second. I'll just pause for a second, and if anyone has any questions or wants to type in the chat there, I can answer those questions.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a faster way to do this than having to do like all 4 right, left, up, down, and having to write like I thought it would just be automatically true that
Well,
if one is true, the others are false, but I guess not.
No, because if you press the right button and you set it to true, you have to switch it when you push the left button. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if I duplicate this block and put it down here, so I have the right button pressed. Here, if I press the left button, I'm going to set this to true and these ones all to false. Do you see that? How it's switching them?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
I guess
is.
logically, you can't just assume that everything else is going to be false just because one is true.
No, you can't, because if you set this one to true, you don't know. Sorry, did I set this one to true as well? That shouldn't be true. You have to, the program doesn't know, right, what's been set. So you have to physically tell it, this one's being set to true, these ones are being set to false, and then you do it down here for this one. So you have to go through the different pieces of code and do it. Now, if your class is young, like if they're, primary grade, I say up to grade maybe 5-ish, depending on how strong the class is, you could have this all automatically ready to go in your template for them. For me, grade 5 and up, I make them do this. So I make sure they go through this process to understand how it works, because it's a good lesson on Boolean. So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to run it down here. So this one's going to be up. So I'm going to do the, sorry, where's my up? Right there. And I'm going to set my up to true and the rest of them are false. Finally, I'm going to do one more. And this one is going to be my down. So right here. So my down is going to be, sorry, I didn't set this one right. You have to go through the code and make sure that is correct. So down is true and the rest are false. So you want to double check your code and make sure that the only one that is true is the one you're pushing. And it looks like left is, if left button pressed, see, I did that one wrong. And I'm just going to double check this one. This one looks good. Up is true and down is true. So my code here is all set up with all of my variables set correctly. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that portion? And I know it's a lot of code, but it's, if you want to build this out from scratch, it's, like I said, it's a good lesson on how to do it. Okay, so this is the last part of the code that will actually create the projectile, which is kind of a fun part. It's a bit more, you get to do some animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my controller here, and on a button pressed, which is this one right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if the right button is true, so if right equals true, I'm going to launch what's called a projectile. And projectile is a piece of code. Yeah, exactly, Kendrick. It's totally how you'd move characters in Scratch. It's exactly the same. I'll build it out here. So I'm going to grab a logic block. I'm going to say, I'm going to actually use, rather than use this simple if block, I'm going to use the if else block, which is the one just below it right here. So I'm going to pull this one out. I'm going to come in and I'm going to say if right equals true. So let's grab a logic block, grab a comparison block, grab a variables block. So right is the R right here. So if R, sorry, it takes a little bit to get it into the correct place, equals true, then we're going to launch what's called a projectile. Now, projectile does a bunch of fancy code behind the scenes, and it actually pushes an object in a direction that you specify. So actually, I like this one. It's really cool for teaching students about like X and Y and looking at graphing, because you launch these projectiles, they'll only move in the direction you tell them to. So if I click on the sprite button right here, which is the one with the tiny little paper airplane on it, and I come down, and it's kind of a funny one. It's actually got its own section. It's called projectiles. That's how important it is for games or stories to have this in it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the top one. Don't worry about this one, because this one launches it from your character. So you grab it out, you put it in, and it says set projectile, and this is the part where you get to actually create the projectile, whatever it is. I guess I'll do like a ice ball or something like that for my character. Now, this is the important part. If I push the right button and I push my A button, this says, okay, if R equals true, which it does because I set it to true here, it's going to launch the projectile from my sprite. But here's the important part right here. The up and down is 0, because you don't want the fireball or the ice ball to go up or down. The X is in the positive direction because you're launching it this way, positively. So it sets the projectile to launch from my sprite with a Vx, with a velocity of X of 50. So it'll launch it in that direction that way. So what you need to do here is you need to create some kind of projectile, whatever that is. So I am going to, I'll create like a little kind of, maybe like an ice looking. I'm not going to do a great job of this. Let's see here. Maybe I'll put some like pieces kind of coming off the side. Now, if you wanted to animate this, you totally could. I'm not gonna do that for what we're working on here, but maybe put some like chunks of gray in it. Hopefully it doesn't give the kids any ideas about throwing ice balls at school. So let's click done here. And you can see there is my projectile right there, kind of ready to go. Now, I've got my code set up here, and I mean, I could go on and build the rest of it, but I'm itching to test it, because if something doesn't work, we're gonna have a bit of a problem. Now, the issue here with testing our code is we have to click on here, go through this entire thing here, and kind of make it work. So what we can do is, you'll see if magic book equals true, then I can launch the projectile. So all I need to do to play test this code is come all the way back to the start of my code and set my magic book to true from the very start. I don't actually have to go through all of the code to actually launch it. And you can see when I press, oh, sorry, I'll make it bigger for me. When I press my A button, it launches those little ice balls in the direction, but I have to push right first. So I push right and it launches it in the direction that I'm heading. I can set this back to false to make the game go back to the way it's supposed to be, but this is a great play test at the start. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm just gonna pause for a second before I complete this code out. I know this is a large chunk of code we're working on right here, and it seems quite long, but yeah, it kind of shows you how this works. So I'll just pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions about how this code is being built out, or what is happening here?
It looks like when I press the projectile button, it actually comes from behind me and then moves forward.
Oh, I see. So it's coming out from behind your character and then
Yeah,
moving
and then
like
moves
in front
across
of
my
them.
character and then in front of them.
What you could do is I think on your projectile here, you could push your projectile more to the corner. Although you know
Oh,
what
I
that's going to
see.
do. Well, I could do it that way, but then when it comes out from the other direction, it might look like it's coming from the backside.
Mm.
That's a good question. I wonder if mine does that as well. Let's go. Let's take a look. That's a good question to check out. Let's see if mine does the same thing. So when I launch it, see if it's going to run out. Mine's coming from the center of my character, but yours is coming from behind, like back here.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why that would be. Your character is positioned right in the center of the screen like this on the 16 by 16 grid.
Yep.
Okay. That is a bit odd. I don't know if I know the answer to that one quite yet. Maybe if you send it to me, I can troubleshoot it when we're working on other stuff, and I'll take a look. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
refresh. That could be it. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's an
Oh
interesting
yeah, I
point,
guess
though.
I could refresh.
You could try
I
that.
have a question.
Sometimes refresh helps.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Did refreshing help you?
I'm just working on it.
Got it. All right, so
I
I'm
have
going
a
to zoom in.
question.
Sorry,
Oh.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
When I try to play it, it says, "Oops, we cannot run this project." There's an error.
Oh, okay. So that is, can you shoot it to me in the chat here? And I'll try and troubleshoot it right here, and we see if we can solve it together.
Download the file?
No, what you do is you come up on the screen up here on the top, and there's a little share button on the top right corner. You click on it, and it says share project right here.
Oh,
So you
right.
click on that button, and you click copy, and then paste that into the chat, and I can grab it, and I can see if we can troubleshoot it together to see if we can see your problem. If that works for you. Cool, thanks. I'll grab that, I'll bring it over here. Hopefully everyone can see it, and I'll edit your code, and let's see what can everyone see? Can you see it okay? Is it loading up? Awesome.
I think
All right.
I probably did like the last section, that, like on game update section.
I can see your problem right away.
Oh, I see the error. I see the
Do you
little
see
icon.
it? So it's all good. It's all good. So it's do you see how you've created this as an integer right here? So you said if magic book equals 0 right here. So if we go back to the very start of our code, you set your magic book to false right here. So it's trying to read false, and it's like, oh, there's an integer in place of false. So what we want to do here, and I'll just do this real quick, is I come down to the bottom down here. I'll grab my false, and I'll put the false. I'll put it. It should be true, right? And I'll change that to true right there. Hopefully that changes our. But you never know. There we go. It looks like it's functioning okay now.
Okay.
Is that okay?
And how do you refresh it? Do you just press the?
Oh, for you, I'm not actually in your code. You have to physically change it on your
I could change
end.
that. Okay, I could do
Yeah,
that.
I wish I could change it. That would be really sweet, actually. Let's go back here to where we were. So hopefully everyone's okay with what we've added and where we are. Now, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click the plus sign here and the plus sign here. And all I'm going to do is take this top code, which says if r equals true. I'm going to duplicate it, which makes a copy of it. I just right clicked on it. So I duplicated it to make a copy. And I'm going to toss it in here. And I'm going to say when L equals true, basically when I am clicking the left button, I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to copy this projectile code, and I'm going to put it in here, except I'm going to make a change in it. The only change I'm going to make here is I'm going to, instead of plus 50, we're going to go minus 50, because that will push the projectile in the opposite direction. So I can play test that if I want to. And if some of you can figure out the pattern I'm using here, please go ahead and do it. But I just want to make sure everyone's comfortable with what we're doing. So I'm just going to click true. I'll make this a bit big.
Nate, sorry to interrupt. There's a couple people in the chat who are saying they still need help.
Sure, I don't see them. Okay, I see them now. So is that Angela?
You might not have seen it because you left and came back.
Yeah, sorry, Angela, you said you need help. I can see you in the chat here. And you said you need help with yours. Can you unmute your mic and ask? Or if you don't want to do that, you can pop the code into the bottom down here and I can help you that way. Either or, it's up to you. So Angela, I just see, yeah, all yours on the side, it says I still need help there. What I'll do is I'll post my code there. There we go. Angela, got yours. Hopefully I'll try not to shut the whole thing down this time when I close it up. I think I realized what I did wrong last time, and I'll try and not do that again. So let's go into yours, Angela, and let's see what yours looks like. So, Angela, do you have a mic on yours? Do you have a mic open? If not, it's okay. You can just type in the chat there. It's just sometimes it's easier if we chat like that. So yours seems to be functioning okay. I don't see any errors in your code. If I set this to true, I'm in yours right now, Angela. And I see that your it's launching the projectile on an angle downwards. So if I come back here and look at this part right here, your Vx and your Vy are 50 and 50. So what you want, your Vy is your up and down. So you want to set Vy to 0 and you want to set your Vx to 50. That's the x-axis going left and right this way. So what we'll do is I'll come back here. And I'll just reopen your code here and I'll run it. I'll just run it one more time for you here. And there you go. Now it's launching the way you want to. Angela, is that okay? Does that make sense there? So what I did is I came in and I changed your Vy to 0 and then your Vx was 50. Okay, I am going to try and not close down the code this time. So hopefully we're okay. I'll put Angela's behind there. Does anyone else have any other questions or any problems with where we are right now? You said, sorry, there was a couple of people that had some trouble. So I just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with where we are.
Hey, it's Trista.
Yeah, hey.
Mine was doing the same thing.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if it's just my computer being slow, because when I push A to like start my game, and then I go down to my like special block to push the lever, like my character just stops.
They just freeze.
Yeah, like, and he just like moves wherever he wants, even though I'm pushing the arrows to go where I want him to. So I think it's a me problem on my computer, not with my code, because I have what you have,
right?
But he's not launching anything.
Oh, okay. So
and moving where he wants.
He's kind of just moving around. So are you saying to me, does he launch the projectile okay? Like if you turn this to true, so I'm just going to back out and I'm going to come back here. And if I turn the magic book to true, does he not launch anything?
No.
Okay.
But I don't know if I just maybe can't see it.
Oh, it's all good. Pop it in the chat. This is good. Like troubleshooting with
you.
everyone in front of me is it's really good. That's it's a great way for everyone to learn. So I'll grab it too. I'm just trying to like troubleshoot things without shutting things down. It's kind of embarrassing when I shut everything down and like everyone has to wait for me to come back. So let's go right here. Let's wait for your code to load. Yeah, no, this is the best way to learn, is everyone to show what they're working on and what problems they're having. So if I click A, oh, he's got like a little blue hat on. That's really cool. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, it's cute. No, he's doing the thing he's supposed to do on my computer. So I'm gonna guess
it's a me problem.
It's a beautiful little warp you have here too. I like your idol too. He like his head goes up and down. Does he have a turtleneck on?
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. That's so cool. So I'm gonna go in here. Now I'm noticing when you hit here, he's freezing.
Yes.
So something's definitely wrong with that code. So let's go into here. And I'm going to come back, and that is over here. So I'm going to guess right here is the problem. And let me just see if we can troubleshoot this. When he overlaps this, we want the entire cutscene in here. You see that? I think you had start cut. Sorry, I'll pull this out. You had start cutscene in here.
Yeah.
And you want all of your start cutscene like in there like that, if that makes sense. Yeah. And hold on, let me just double check that, because like as we get farther down, there's more and more problems, but there we go. So that's running okay. now. Should be anyway. Let me just he's shooting too, if you notice. He can launch even when he does it. Right lever, secret room. Let's see that. And yeah, no, this is running exactly the way it should now. Yeah, found a
Perfect.
magic book. Things are looking up. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Hopefully
Thank
that
you.
answered your question. No worries.
Yes,
That's
it
great.
did. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna come back here. Like I said, does anyone else have any more problems? Because me troubleshooting these problems online in front of you is a great way for us all to kind of learn together. Or if anyone else has any troubles or any questions, please ask right now. It yeah, kind of helps all of us out actually. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. And I'm gonna continue on my path of creating all of my projectiles here. So I'm gonna duplicate. And I'm going to do an up, so a U for up, and I'm going to set to the next projectile. Now, up is, I always get a bit confused here. Up is the y-axis, and now I'm trying to think a positive 50. I think I'm right on that. Sometimes I get a bit, it might be a
Negative.
negative. I think it is, isn't it?
It
I
is,
was like,
yeah.
it's negative 50, it's backwards, right?
Already tested it. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, I know, right? I always get confused with the back and forth on the
Because it's
the graph.
counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense that up is negative.
Yeah, I know, totally, right? So you do it the way that's counterintuitive. That's the best way to do it. You'll notice here when I get to the bottom, I don't have an extra comparison block I can add. So I can just click plus, and every time I click plus, it adds an extra comparison block like that. All right, so we've got right. What am I missing here? I think I'm missing my down. It's my final piece right here. And my down is 50. And I can minus this. And I know you're probably like, oh my goodness, this was like a lot of coding. Nate, like this is kind of ridiculous. But if you look at the code and you read the code sequentially, the code makes sense. You can build this out a different way, but you're not going to get the smooth kind of launching of the projectiles that you want. You'll also, with this way, the way that you've built this out, you can also add like a amount counter into it. So when we're looking at maybe you collect the magic book, you have so many spells you can cast. I'm just using a magic as a reference. You don't want the character to have unlimited amounts, like just be able to launch 1 million of them. There's like counters you can create farther down the code to control how many they have. I'm not going to get into that here, but this code allows for that. That is inside. Yeah, I'll show you that maybe later on if we get to that point. Okay, I'm going to stop there because that was a lot of code and a lot of me chatting and troubleshooting. Does anyone have any more questions before I move on to the next section?
How did you copy and paste it so quickly?
Oh, sure. I'll zoom in. No worries. So to go more slowly, I'll copy and paste this one right here. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. So this one right here, I'm just taking the comparison block and I'm clicking on it till it turns yellow, and then I'm right clicking on it. That allows me to duplicate the block like that. I'll do that one more time for you. I just click on it till it turns yellow, and then
I'm not using a mouse.
Oh, okay. If
so
you're
that's
using,
why I was hard.
yeah, it's I always call it a snake bite. So just tap down with 2 fingers on the pad, and then you should have your right click on your pad for that process that I just did right there. Hopefully you have the right click.
Also, if you click on it and it turns yellow, you can use Control C and Control V to copy and paste.
True. That does do it that way too. Yep. Either way. Does anyone else have any more questions about this part right here? Please ask away. Okay, good. All right, so we've got that. That was a kind of a lot of coding right there, and I'm going to back out because that's an impressive amount of coding. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about building out our next level, because obviously if you're doing a story, you can't have just one place. You want to move the students on from one area to the next area. So let's take a look at that. So the level building is essentially like tile maps. So you want to build out tile maps, but you want to use functions to build out tile maps. Now, the best way to do this, and we already talked about functions before, is to come down to advanced down here and then click on the functions tab right here. And I'm going to zoom, sorry, I'll zoom in a bit because that's a bit small. I'm just going to click on functions and then click on make a function. And the name of this function is going to be create level. Aptly named for building different levels out. Now, if you want, this is going down a farther road with students, but students generally want to create multiple scenes in their story. You could create, and I'll pull my function up here. You could create your tile map to be really large. Like I'm going to come back to my tile map here. And if you wanted to bust it out to like 100 by 100, you could totally do that. The problem with that is it's kind of, the students, it's better if the students are moving between scenes, and in different scenes you can bring in different things, like the levels or kind of like the pages of a story. I really like the kind of level or pages of a story idea, because then you're kind of moving through a sequence. So to create our level, we need to have a bunch of different levels. So first up, as our, hopefully we're getting a little bit more comfortable with our logic block, we're going to use another conditional. So let's grab that one out, the if else conditional right here. And we're basically going to create a Boolean for our levels. So we've created a lot of Booleans over here. So sorry, a lot of variables over here and used a lot of Booleans. So let's come into our variables again, which is becoming kind of a common place we're touching on. We're going to click on make a variable, and we're just going to call it level. And it's going to hit enter on that, and then we're going to have our level set up. Now, before we do anything with our levels variable, we always want to set our level to 0 at the start. And let's come all the way back to the start of our scene right here. And we are going to set it here. So I'm just going to zoom in, come up to the top, and we are going to grab our, under our variables tab here, we're going to set our level. Now we're going to set our level to 0. In computer science or in coding, 0, we always start counting from 0. It seems kind of like the negative part on the y-axis. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but we always start our counting at 0. That's just the way it is. So getting students to start using the 0 as an actual integer for counting is important to kind of get them comfortable with that. So let's come all the way over here. We've set our level to 0. And if you're starting to guess how this logic is working, hopefully for some of you it's clicking a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to grab the comparison block, and this is just like we used before. We're going to say if level, and level is under my variables right here called level. If level equals 0, then all we're going to do is we're going to set that tile map that we used at the very start. So if level equals 0, we're going to come all the way back. And I know it's a pain to go back and forth on your code, but it's important that you do. So you can see way down here, when I started my entire level, I used this tile map right here to begin my level. So I'm going to grab this little tile map chunk of code right here. If you've forgotten, you hold down Control and pull, and that will pull out just one chunk of code. If you try and do it like this, it's going to pull out like 4 chunks. So Control and pull, and that's your little chunk of code right there. And you're going to kind of drag it and pull it all the way to the end of your code that you're building here. So if level equals 0, we build out our very first tile map like that. Now, obviously, now we've been kind of heavy coding right here, so I kind of want to break it up with some artwork. We need to create our second level. So what we'll do is we'll click plus right here, and we're going to say else if, and this is the Control-C, Control-V thing that you mentioned there. We can copy this chunk of code. If level equals 1, then we're going to create a brand new tile map. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to scene right here. We did this at the very start of our sessions. We come down and it says set tile map. It's under the tile maps function right here. And we're just going to click that in. And you can build out a new tile map here. Now, you can do this a bunch of different ways. For me, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my old tile map. I'm going to do this the lazy way. I'm going to take my entire old tile map. And I'm just using the marquee tool or the selection tool right here. I'm going to hit Control-C. I'm going to copy my old tile map. I'm just going to take my old one. And I'm going to click on this new tile map, and I'm going to hit Control-V. So you can paste entire levels back in. And I'm just going to make this like different, I'm just going to rotate it. It's a bit of a cheap move, but that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to kind of take my old level, I'm going to rotate it and kind of stick it down. Now, some changes I am going to make. I'm going to make this the lava. I think I'm going to remove all the lava. I don't really want the lava. I'm going to make it maybe some rooms with some kind of a forest theme in it, because we're going to be heading outside. So I'm going to take this grass and I'm just going to cover up my lava. Oops, I went a little too far there. This is where you get to be a little more creative with the art design. I'm going to cover up my lava with some grass here. And I'm going to open up some of my space here because it's a bit tight. So I'm going to take my wall icon. I'm going to maybe open up this area down here. And I think, let's see here. I guess I could use another kind of a flower icon here. This is maybe a open kind of space here. This part, I'm going to open that up too. So I'm going to kind of use the eraser tool and remove some of these pieces here. I'm just going to add some more kind of flowers into it there. What important thing is you need to remove these tiles that are triggers. This tile right here is a trigger. If you recall, I'll go back into my code and I'll back out. Sorry?
What's that guy?
Oh, I think someone's mic's on. It's the one that says iPhone on it.
I do have a question. How
Yep.
did you change the tile map? Like mine changed like all of them at the same time,
So did you copy this tile map?
probably.
Yeah, so you don't want to copy your previous tile map because it will
Oh,
change them both at the same time. So hopefully if you just hold down Control Z, and it should back up what you did. Sorry, I should have made that explicit. Yeah, you don't want to copy your next tile map and then just change it out because it will actually change both of them.
okay.
I don't
You
know
just
if that's
add in a new tile map or add in a new.
yeah, just grab a new one from the scene and then grab an entire new one in and put it in. But like I said, you can grab your old tile map like with the marquee tool and copy it over. Just ensure you do not copy this entire thing and just plunk it in here and then change it. Yeah, I don't know why that is. It's kind of silly actually. I don't know why that is. It must be something to do with it's in the memory already. And it's just set. So hopefully that answers your question. I'll just wait here a second. What you probably, you know, I'm just going to kind of play around in here a bit to kind of relax because we've been doing a lot of code. So I think it's going to kind of build up my tile map here. Make sure you cover up your triggers. And sorry, I think that's what I was kind of talking about a little bit here. If you don't cover that trigger up, I'm going to come back here. This will fire. This is your trigger right here. So when I overlap that trigger, if you don't cover up your old triggers, it will refire the triggers on your new level. So just ensure you have no triggers in your level. What I'm also going to say is this staircase right here, I believe that is set to us for us to start on right here. Oh, and the key, it'll place the key on top of a random one too. So I'm going to have to take that one out. So as I'm going to do put over the key there. So yeah, just build out your level here and kind of get it how you want it. I'm just going to I think I'm just going to work on my walls here a tiny bit more. I find building little levels out is actually pretty relaxing. The code is sometimes can be a bit intense, but building the levels out is usually a bit more relaxing. Okay, let's click here. I'm going to actually remove this wall here. I don't really want that. I'm going to kind of open my level up a little bit and give it a bit more space. I'm actually going to close this door out. I don't want that because that is another trigger. And let's close off this wall down here so my players can't leave. Okay, I'm just going to wait here for like 5 minutes or so and just if anyone wants to ask me any questions or talk about what's happening up to this point, let's kind of have a back and forth here a little bit. Because yeah, just this will give you a little time to get artsy and kind of get your level the way you want it. And I guess you could bump it out, make it a little bit larger too if you wanted. 25 by 25 is pretty good. I'll fill the rest of it out. Let's see here. Run this back. If anybody's having any trouble, just throw it into the chat there or talk on the mic. Happy to help. Let's see here. Go over a bit. And maybe I'll add some of these kind of open tiles to create an area over here. This looks a bit suspect. Sus, as my kids would call it. Okay, maybe I'll place something over there, have something wandering around that area. Oh, it's okay. Yep, all good. See you later tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, the recording should have everything on it, and we're gonna go a little farther in here and kind of look at some more things, maybe add some NPCs and stuff like that. So it's all good. Okay, so how's everyone doing? Like I said, I don't want to fire ahead here. If everyone's still building away, does everyone want a little more time to kind of work on their tile map, or how's everybody feeling?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll just wait. Sometimes silence, I'm like, I get uncomfortable with silence. I'm like, oh, what's going on? But it's all good. Everybody's happy, plunking away. Tile maps can be
Okay.
pretty involved.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you
go ahead.
back to your screen again to the? Yeah. So you have the level.
If level
So
equals 0.
If level
Yeah.
equals 0, I have
Mhm.
that. But then the second one, if level then instead of the level equals 1.
Oh, okay. So yours looks like. Sorry, I'll pull it all out. Yours looks like this.
Yeah. No, there's still the else if.
Oh, there's this.
Yeah, but just the level then. Yeah, it doesn't have that the double because I added the 2 when the Boolean added that in, but then it
like that.
It didn't keep the like the 1, the 0, the 1, like the 1, 0,
Oh,
the
I
1.
see.
You know
Can
what I
you
mean?
toss me your can you just share that with me real quick, and I'll put it right up here. It'll just be easier for me to kind of yeah, troubleshoot it if that's okay. Okay, Angela, you have a bug, but sorry, who was talking there?
Molina.
Oh, okay, Melina, just toss it in the Angela. I'll solve your bug in a second here. I'm just gonna grab Melina's up and see if we can troubleshoot her problem here before I head into yours. Cool, thanks. I'll grab it and I'll bring it over and I'll grab that so I don't lose everybody. And let's edit the code now. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So, okay, I see. So I'm just gonna drop some of these ends out, and I'm gonna grab this level and this level. I'm just gonna kind of dump them over here. And so right on this block right here, you want to say if level equals 0. So what you want to do is click on variables, just come down to this level variable, and you just want to plunk it inside there like that. So if level equals 0, then it takes you to this level. Now what you want to do is you want to copy this code. So you just click on the kind of part here and right click it and duplicate it. That will give you a copy of it. And you can plunk your copy in here and change the level to 1. So you've got your level 0 and your level 1 here. Now this code on the bottom, you don't need it. It just don't need it anymore. So click the minus sign, and that will tidy your code up and kind of make it a bit smaller. Melina, is that okay? Did I go a little bit too fast? Would you like me to do that one more time?
Nope, that's good. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. So you just have to do that on your end because I'm not sharing this project. Okay, so Angela, hold on, give me one sec here. I'm just going to hopefully not lose everybody, and I'm going to grab yours. Like I said, this part of picking people's code out and kind of debugging it is a really great way for us all to kind of learn, because I often see problems that I'm like, I have no idea. I've never seen this before. So Angela, let's see here. Sorry, I'm going to grab it over here. And you have a bug. Okay, so let's click play. It looks to me like it's not even running. So let's try and just redo the whole editor again. I always just kind of load it up again on the top. And we've got something going on right here. Oh, you know what? Of course. This code, it's not going to run right now. Basically, right here, this function level right here, let's see. It's picking up this code. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Let's go back this way. And I think what we need to do here is we need to call the function, and we haven't done that yet. So I don't think anything's really wrong with your code yet. I think this function right here is just sitting here. It's probably looking for a tile map, and it's like, what the heck? At the start of my game here, there's no tile map here anymore. I don't know what to do. So don't panic. I think basically we're just going to add the function in, and I just haven't done that yet. So let me just see if I can do that now to kind of oh, can everyone hear me, or is Kendrick says he has lost volume? Has everyone
can
else
hear
lost
you.
volume? You can hear me? So Kendrick, I think it's just you. Sorry.
I can hear.
Nothing on my end. So under advanced, under functions, you want to call the create level function, right? So once you call it, it will build that level out. Now you set, oh, I see what you've done. I see what you've done. Sorry, I should have looked at this sooner. So Angela, your problem is right here. You've set the level to false. You want to set the level to an integer. So set level to 0. What you did is you set it to a Boolean. And now your code should be, sorry, that was my fault. I didn't see that right away. It should be running okay. We still haven't called the level yet. So let me run my function and call create level, and that should, it sets the level to 0. It runs the call function, and it should pick it up. There it is. Sorry, we just haven't done this part yet. So Angela, does that make sense? Sorry. What just happened there? It was a Boolean that was instead of integer. Very common mistake, and I make it all the time. Okay, I'm just going to close Angela's off here. I'm going to come into mine. And I think everybody's had a little bit of time to kind of work away on their level or sort out any issues. So the problem here, and you probably noticed this, is your level is black and there's a key in the middle of your level, and it's like doing like super weird stuff. Your whole level is nothing. So as I was talking to Angela there a little bit about, we need to call our function right here before we do anything. So come back out. Once you got your function at the end here, come way back to the start of your level. And what you want to do is you want to call that function, but you want to call that function up here, because if you call the function down here, it might not place everything where you want it. So I always place the function quite high. So I'm going to click on functions. I have the call create level function, and I'm just going to drag that up, and it sets my level to 0. You can see that. And I'm going to call the create level function, and it should just kind of sit here for a second. And you can see my game is, yeah, well, it's back to kind of the way it was. I'll just stop there for a second because some of you might run an error there. There might be an issue. I just want to make sure everyone is okay calling that function. You have to remember, you have to call the functions to run them. And that's a pretty common issue that students have, is they're not calling the functions and they're like, oh, it's not really showing anything up. So I want to make sure everyone's okay with that. Okay, now your next question is probably, no one's asked it yet, but how do I actually change the level? Because currently you're in your level, but there's no way to change the level. Your level is just like this level. You have all this fancy function here, but there's no way to change it. So we need to essentially, when we overlap something, we need to change, and I'll come back here. We need to change this level integer by 1. So it starts at 0. We need to overlap something that is going to change the level by 1. So a fairly straightforward way to do this is to come back to your tile map. And I want you to remember you created 2 tile maps. You want to come into the tile map that is inside your on sprite of kind player overlap, that fancy kind of block there. So come all the way down, zoom in, and this is your second tile map, that kind of funky one where the chest is in it. So what you want to do is you want to have something that you overlap outside of the tile map that is going to change levels. So you want to come into this map. I suggest you bump it out to 25 by 25. That just gives you more room to work with. And I am just going to jump into my gallery. I'm going to quickly add in a wall down here because I don't want to create anything intricate out. I just want to show you how this works. And I'm going to have a staircase that is going to take me to the next level. Now you got to be really careful here. You don't want to use this staircase. This staircase is already used in your code. I want to make it so I kind of have another staircase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my tiles and I'm just going to build out. This is good practice actually, building out a staircase. I don't know if I'm going to do a great job of this actually. I actually forget what the staircase looks like already. It's kind of like a gray box with a gray top on it. So let's I'm going to build out a staircase as best I can here. So I'm probably not going to do an awesome job of it, but I'll give it a try. That's kind of a standard staircase. So I'll do like an outline like that. It's best. I often like to build out like custom tiles for changing levels. It's just it's a better way to do it. That way you know that the tile you're using is your own that you've built. Although I'm not building a very good staircase right here right now. I'm not feeling very artistic this evening, I guess. Kind of a long day at school. Okay, so let's see here. That's probably like the worst staircase I've made so far. I can make it like kind of like that. That doesn't look like a staircase at all. Whatever. Oh, thank you. That's very encouraging. Does it look like a I don't know. It looks like a I don't even know what it looks like. I'm not gonna question. I'm just gonna put it down. So I'm gonna put it down in the corner down here. And it doesn't have to be a staircase. It could be like a color. You could just have it as a color, or it can be another door. It could be a trap door. Staircase seems to fit in with the kind of style of game that I'm building. So once you build out your custom tile, and like I said, custom tiles are the best things to use for this kind of thing, simply because you won't get confused. Don't repeat use tiles. Like don't try and grab another staircase and plunk it down here. Once you're using multiple tiles in your level that are the same, it just gets really confusing and hard for you to pick out where the error in the code is. Okay, I'll just wait for a second there to make sure everybody's okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come way over here. And like I said, I'm building my code out sequentially. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an overlap. So on my scene, I'm going to come down to about here on sprite of kind player overlap checkerboard. And we've used this like multiple times now. And I'm going to find that weird tile I just built, which is this one right here. And all I'm going to do here, you only need 2 lines of code. Oh, sorry. Can you show where to get a new function? Sure. A new function is functions are right here, and you can just click on make a function right there. Sorry, is that for the create level function? A bool for which? Which party? What part of the code are you talking about?
I can show you. I'll just send a picture.
Yeah, it's all good. Go ahead. Okay, so while I'm just gonna wait for that picture here. I'm just going to come into my variable here, and I am going to grab the change level by 1. So what happens is when I overlap this staircase, I change the level number by 1, and then what I do is I call this function. So let's go down to my function, and I am going to call create level right here. And that's where functions are super powerful. So essentially what this is doing is it's taking this entire function and it's going to run through it. It's going to say, okay, level, and I'll back out a bit, sorry, to make this make more sense. It's going to grab the function and it's going to go through here and it's going to go, okay, the level is 0. The level starts at 0. And we come way over here. I'm going to zoom in. And we've changed the level by 1. So it runs through this function. So the level is set to 1 and it'll create your brand new tile map right here. Should work like that. We're going to have to test it out to see if it actually runs. But these lines of code, and I'll zoom in, sorry. Can't send through chat. Oh, weird. Huh. That's strange. So can you explain it to me? Like, try and explain it to me. Sorry about the bool.
Oh yeah, it's okay. For some reason it doesn't let me send anything through chat right now.
Oh,
It's
weird.
only
Maybe it's
messages, like not files anyway, or even links. I can't copy and paste. It's weird.
Oh, that might be I don't know if that's a sharing. Let me check. I wonder if that's a sharing thing on my end. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. You can't send links even?
Yeah, it's strange. Anyway, it's just when I create a function, it only gives me an option to have something with a bool, and I was like, why does it have a bool and yours doesn't? So it was kind of weird.
Okay, so if I click on
function,
function here and I click
make
make a
a function.
function, you only have
I guess
Boolean?
mine has, I clicked the Boolean.
Oh, so sorry, you clicked on this one
think-
right here?
No, I clicked
Or
the make a function and I
oh,
think
you
like the
clicked
wrong
on
one.
Boolean.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And then you only could do a bool. So we haven't talked about this yet. These are parameters for a function. We're not going to get into that. But so sorry, you clicked on Boolean and then it added Boolean into it?
I think I clicked the wrong thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's just under functions right here, and it's make a function right there. Maybe you clicked a different section on here. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, sorry. Where am I? Angela. I'm trying to get the treasure chest, but it won't let me walk through the wall to the new secret room after pulling the lever. Okay, so Angela, let's troubleshoot. I'm just gonna leave this code up right here. And actually what I'm gonna do is I'll screenshot this code for everybody, and I'm just gonna troubleshoot this problem with Angela right now. So Angela, same thing. Could you just pop that into the chat and I will try and troubleshoot that for you right now. Desktop, save, see if I can grab that. Guess I can't. Anyway, whatever. I'll deal with that in a minute. Let's see if we can troubleshoot your problem here. And I'll bring this open and let's edit that code right here. So sorry, you're saying it won't let me walk through the wall to the new secret room after pulling the lever. Okay. So if we come up here and I come over to the side, everything looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna make this bigger. And that is the right lever. One sec here. And right lever. And secret room. And yeah, oh, no, you can walk through the wall. Yeah, you can go right through it. You might be stuck. You might be hitting it and not pushing up. So it should be just fine. That should work just as intended there, hopefully. Is there a way to add comments to the code? Maybe a special block we can add notes to remind ourselves what the code does. Yes. If you right click on the code, there's an add comment button right here. So you can click that and then there's a button right up here on the top and you can say this code changes the level for me right there. And then that is, you can minimize it and you can click on the code and it'll you can expand it out like that. And that is a handy way for you to comment code. And you can see it kind of attaches to it like that. So it's a handy way to kind of have the code ready to go. Yeah, sorry, I should have said that. I should have said that earlier. That's probably a pretty key thing for teachers to show students what to do. That is actually a really good way for if you build a template out for your students, is you can comment out add a comment to the code and be like, this is what sets the projectile. This is what gives you the magic book. And you can run through all the code like that. So they're like, okay, I have no idea what this does. And actually, what you could do, I never really thought of this, but you could put links in here. So you could, what might be a really good idea is building small tutorial videos out. And you could build out a link that they would click on here and it would take you to the tutorial video. Anyway, just ideas. That's a really good point. Okay, does anyone have any more questions? So yeah, you should be able to move it. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm missing something with the key.
Okay.
I've noticed when I tried to add the key to the door, it doesn't actually like do anything. And I've noticed I'm missing the call function for the key.
Okay. Let's see here. So call key, which is right here. Let's come over to the call key function, which is right here. Oh, sorry, that is not the call key function. Oh, that's my animation function. That's my lava. So the call key function is the animation for the key. So
Oh, I
that
didn't
shouldn't
actually
affect.
animate the key, so it's
That's
fine.
okay. That shouldn't affect anything. But you're saying when you go to that door, you do not. When you get the key, you cannot go through the door. Is that
Correct.
what
It
you're
still
saying?
says you need a key.
Okay. So if you look at my code right here, is initially your key door lock set to true at the start of your code?
Yep.
Okay, so if I come over here, when I overlap the, let's see, that would be this one right here. So, right here, if on sprite of kind overlaps the door, if door locked equals true, then change sprite x by -16. So, and that locks the door. And this one says on sprite of kind solution, which is the key, overlaps the door. It says set door lock to false. Does yours state that? All you should have to do is pick up the key, and it should allow you to walk through the door. But it's not doing that.
Correct.
Fire your code over here and let's troubleshoot it. Yeah. Everyone else, you can just keep working on your level and building it out. I like doing this stuff. Troubleshooting live is a lot of fun.
I had a similar problem. Like I opened the door, but I couldn't go through it.
Okay.
Like onto my other map until I did the lever.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
So
like I can open the door with the key first, but I can't walk through the door until I play the lever and open the chest.
Let's see here. Let me just grab this one and I'll see if we can kind of look at this together and see what the issue is here. We're getting a lot of code built out here, so there's probably something in here. Okay, so let's come over to here, and I'm just going to sort this code out just a little bit this way so I can see the exact code that's running. Okay, so right here, let's bust it open. And nice princess. She's got a wand. She can't go through. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the key right here. And let's see. You unlock the door. So that works. Now I can go through the door. Okay. I can go through the door. I mean, you don't have anything else here, but let's try that again. Let's run that again. But let's run it before. Let's run it so I pull the lever first. Is that maybe where we're having the bug?
Can I have some bacon?
No, so it does show it now. Weird. Maybe I just wasn't hitting it in the right spot. And I know initially I didn't have, so if I just unlock the door without opening the secret room, I can't go to the next level.
No, because in your initial level here, sorry, where's your initial level? Sorry, it's in your function, right?
Sure.
Way at the end of your code, right here. There's your initial level. In your initial level, you don't have.
That's right, because I didn't expand it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I think, this is a really good point you're making, actually. Probably in our code, we should have it so when you get the magic book, you unlock the key, or the key appears or something like that. Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to do it, because right now that's a good bug you just picked up there, because actually you can't go to the next level. If you unlock the door, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense. So I would have it. So let's go back. I'm just going to actually see if I can troubleshoot this right in your code right here. We want it so the key doesn't appear at the start of the level. So this place key on top of random thing, this one right here, I would take that out. I would take that out completely, and I would place that inside of our second map, which is this map right here. So what I would do is I would zoom in right here. I would put this code right here, and inside here, it would place, as soon as you pull the lever, it would put the key on here. Does that make, if that makes sense? It's a bit.
It does, except I just tried that and my key just appeared randomly.
Your key didn't appear.
Well, it appears on like a random wall. Let me refresh and see.
Yeah, try again, because it should appear on that tile map right there. That is the that button right there. Because you're setting the tile
No.
map here.
I've done something wrong.
Let me try it out on my end here. It's all good. This is all part of it, right? We'll figure it out. Or we won't.
That
One of the
that
two.
worked for me.
Did that work?
Yeah, that what we were talking about was what I was saying too. Like you can get there, but not there. This
Right.
worked. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that changes it up a little bit. I'm gonna refresh this code actually. It looks like the editor's freezing up on me. It's snowing again where I am, so the editor's getting all funky. Give me a second. Okay, so here we go. We'll load it up. Okay, the key initially appears in a totally random spot. So
Yes, that's what I'm getting.
Again, we need to take the key out of here. I know this
Wait.
is we're working.
Start. Hold on.
I would take the key out of here and I would make the key appear right here.
Sorry, where did you take it out of?
Oh, the key? I
Yeah,
grabbed
yeah.
the key from the start block. So you have the key
Oh,
right
I
here.
see it. I see it.
Pull the key out and take the key
Just the
all the way
set
over.
key to sprite, whatever of kind solution.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
I think this is the solution to our problem right here. So let's see it here.
Okay.
So I come out. There's absolutely no key, so I can't even go through the door if I wanted to. I go to the door. Door bumps me. I can't do anything. I come here. I pull the lever. Hold on. I pull the right lever, and then now I pull the right lever. I come up here. I can get the magic book, and the key should be right here where it's supposed to be. There it is. And now I can walk through the door, and I can go to the next level, which is here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Good point. That was a really good point, actually. I'm gonna have to make sure I figure that out for next time I do this, because that is a really good problem.
Pause. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize you could still hear me. I apologize.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You gotta talk out the problems. Yeah, no problem. You can share emails. My email, I will throw it in here. So nlott@sd20.bc.ca. And I'll just toss it in there for you. You can totally throw me any questions if you want. I think I gave everybody maybe 2 emails. Okay, so keep asking questions. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next part. I know we're doing a lot here and troubleshooting kind of different problems, but it's actually really good.
So are we changing all of that to to yours too, right? Is that what we're
Sorry,
doing?
say that one more time.
Like what we just did with the key, are we doing that to like all of it? Like, is that what we're needing to do for everyone?
I think I would, because that is a huge bug actually.
Okay.
Yeah, like what she said is an issue with the entire game. So yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So add the key down here. Sorry, down here, and then add it onto that tile block in your second level, and that should solve your problem.
Okay, but now when I add the key, it says that I still need to unlock the door.
It says you still need to unlock the door?
Yeah, it's like you need a key. So I don't know what I screwed up.
Yeah, no, mine's functioning fine on my end. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna share it with you.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, I'll give it to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. There you go. So that should work well. And you can shoot me yours after and I'll go through it again and look at it. No problem. Okay, anybody else need any help or has any questions about, I think I'm still on your game actually here, sorry. I will shut that down and I will come into mine right here, which I'm gonna have to change mine anyway, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of pause here for a second. Now, you have a lot of code, and you have kind of 2 levels here. Sorry, Angela, your key is still not working. Okay, shoot me your code right here, and let's try and troubleshoot it right now. It's all good. Probably what we want to talk about next, once we've kind of looked at this last kind of issue here, is the creation of like an NPC or a character that we can talk to in the game. So hold on one second. I'm just going to grab this code right here. Try Angela's out and see if we can troubleshoot it here. Okay, so just give it a second to load up. So your key is right here. So the key, what you want to do is you want to move the key over. So I'm going to take the key out. I'm going to take the key out. And we want to move it over to this section. Oh, you've already moved it. You have 2 keys then. So you have a key here, and you also have a key here. So I'm going to delete this key. I'm going to call the key animation here. And that should be good, hopefully. The problem was there you had 2 keys. So let me just run through it real quick. Make sure, yeah, no key here, no key here. And then as soon as I bump into this, it should ask me my question. Angela, hopefully this will solve your problem. And yeah, no worries. Oh, look, you've actually got the thing here. So let's grab the key and let's bump through that door. The wizards. Yeah. Oh, it says you need a key. Nope, it got it. Yep, and it runs through, and this puts you in your next level, and there you go. So Angela, that's all set up for you. No worries. Okay, you just have to take that code out. Okay, yeah, let's talk about in our next level. Let's talk about building out a little NPC or an enemy, I guess, or something that the character is going to interact with as kind of part of the story. So what we want to do is in our next level, we want to create a character of some kind. So again, we're going to come over, and I'm just going to kind of move to the right a little bit this way. And I'm going to grab another function. So I'm going to click on function right here. I'm going to make a function, and functions, as you noticed, are very popular. And I'm going to call this make NPC, so a non-player character. I'm going to click done, and I'm just going to pull this over. Like I said, I like to work sequentially, so I'm just going to put it up here. So I have my next function ready to go. Now, this is kind of the fun part. So we're going to click on sprites, which we've used many times. We're going to grab out our sprite block here. And I am going to rename this. I'm going to click on this part, and rather than draw a character out, I'm just going to choose one from the library. What could it be? Maybe like a snail. Yeah, I'm going to choose a snail right here. I know it doesn't look like a snail there, but actually it is a snail. So once you've chosen, just choose any character. Don't try and draw one out. Just choose one. We're going to click it from player, and we haven't really used this one yet, but there's one called enemy right here. It doesn't have to be called enemy. You can call it whatever you want, but enemy's an easy one to pick up. And then over here, I'm going to call this. I'm going to rename the variable. I'm going to click new variable, and I'm going to call this snail. The reason I do that is because you don't want it to be like my sprite 2 or my sprite 3. It's going to get really confusing. Always name it what it is, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to find out later on down the road. Okay, so first thing I need to do is I have my NPC or my enemy or whatever you want to call it ready to go. I'm going to click on here, and I need to figure out where I want to place my snail on my map. Now, you've done this before. All I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over a tile. I'm going to hover over this tile right here. And if you look on the bottom down here, this one is 610. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click done. I'm going to come back here, and I am going to grab the place block. So come up here and type in place, and you'll see there is a tile map on the top called place my sprite on top of tile map. So grab this one up on the very top up here, and I think it was 610. I think it was 610. So what we've done now is we've just created a enemy or an NPC. We've placed the NPC on top of the tile map. Now, actually, this isn't going to work because I'm placing my sprite on top of the tile map, which is totally incorrect. I'm going to need to place the snail on top of the tile map. That's a mistake I actually do make quite a bit. And we're going to start our snail moving in a direction, like we want it to move. So to make it move, we haven't really done this yet, but if I click on sprites, there is one down here called set my sprite X to 0 right here. So what you want to do is you want to set, actually, nope, sorry, I lied. It is not that one. It is this one. It's set my sprite velocity. It's the top one up here. That was my bad. So we're going to set the snails right here, VX velocity to, let's try 50, I guess. We'll try in the X direction going this way. So I'm going to set the VY to 0 and the VX to 50. So my snail should appear, it should be set down on that tile map, and it should move in a right direction towards the positive on the X axis. Now, currently this function that I have right here doesn't do anything. It's just a function and we haven't called it on anything yet. So it's kind of useless right now. What we want to do is we want to call this function when we create our new level right here. So what you want to do is come over to your function and it's called make NPC. I guess I have like 5 functions now. And you're just going to, once you build that tile map, you call your function. Now, I mean, I could do this. I could take this all out and I could put it down here like that, but I'm not going to do that way. This way is much easier.
This is my dad. So my dad is a mechanic. And if you ask my dad, he'll tell you that cars.
Okay. Someone's mic's on, I think. Someone's a mechanic. Yeah, got it. Okay. So sorry, back to where we were. My NPC, I've created my NPC here. Does anyone have any questions about this code right here? I'll pause on it for a second. We've used bits and pieces of this code before, but I don't know if we've used that code exactly. So I'm going to call that code right here. And so what you can do here is, now we don't want to go through both levels, right? Like we don't want to do all of the stuff on the first level and go all the way to the second level. So what we want to do here is we want to change the level right here on the very start to level 1, because we want to start out on the first level. So this is a really fast way to switch I was looking at microphones there on the chat, to switch levels. And you can see my character starts out on the second level with me not having to do anything. Now there's my little snail guy hanging out there. He's not doing anything. But make sure you switch your level to 1 and it will run through the code and it will hit the call create level and it will jump to 1. Sorry, say that again.
Oh, can you hear me? Sorry,
yeah,
he's not moving.
No, he's not going to move yet. It's when you call him, when he initially appears, you might not be able to see him move because he moves and he's out of the screen, but he will move. We're just setting that at the start. We're going to make him like go back and forth in a minute here. I just wanted to, set that up. Okay, no worries. Okay, so
level 1.
Sorry, yours doesn't go to level 1?
No, it says I put it to level 1, but it goes back to the first level.
Okay, so do you have the function that's called create levels right here? That's like near the end of the code. It's like
level, yeah.
Third. Okay, and it says else if level equals 1. Does it create? Does it say this tile map right here?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Pop your code. Pop your game into the chat there, and I'll troubleshoot it for you. No worries. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to show you how to make your character go back and forth, like bounce on the walls. So Melina, I'm just going to do this first, Melina. Is that okay? And then I'll show you how to do that. So what you want to do is, I warned you, don't use this too often. I'm going to use it like again. So grab the game update, which is the purple block under the circle right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab a logic block and we're going to grab a conditional. So bring the conditional out, and we're going to use a two-part conditional. So we're going to say, if the snail is hitting the wall on the left, then change the velocity, like flip the velocity around. So let's search that up. So let's say hitting, I wonder if it's going to show it. If I show, there it is right there. It's called, you can type in hitting and it says, is my sprite hitting the wall on the left right here? It's the top one. So you can grab that and you can say, if the snail, not the sprite, if the snail is hitting the wall on the left, then I want to change the VX velocity. So you were wondering before actually why I set the velocity here. So I set it to VX to start the snail moving, and then I'm actually going to switch it. I'm going to swap it around. So right here, I'm going to type in change, and it's this one right here. You can't see it because it's in the drop down under the X, but it's to change my sprite X by 0. So grab this one right here and change the VX velocity. It's the third one down right here. And I'm going to change it by 50. So I'm just going to do that. So when I hit the wall on the left, it basically changes the velocity to the opposite, like it sends it in this direction, like it sends it on the VX this way. Now the one below this, I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this little conditional right here. And when I hit the wall on the right, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to change the VX velocity to -50. So it's going to like flip the snail around. It's going to go in the other direction. Now just give it a second here, and I'm just going to kind of come down. But my snails, whoops, actually, can you see the mistake I made? Oh, hopefully it's pretty obvious. I want to change the snail's velocity, not me. That's a bit of a mistake I made there. So that was my error. So let's come down. There he is. So he's just moving and he'll bounce back and forth. And okay, so Melina, I will go into yours right now. And sorry, it took so long. And let's see if we can troubleshoot your error here. So give it a second to warm up. And coming up, I'm just going to back out. And you saying you're not changing levels when you change it to 1 here. So you have if level equals 1, change my tile map. That looks good. So change level to 1, call create level. I think it is changing your, no, it's not changing your level. Okay, so set level to 1, call create level. That is a bit of a stumper because it should be switching you over to the correct level. Let me come back here and maybe, I can't see that problem, that error. It says it's starting here and it looks good, but then it's swapping you back. So let's see, there's something in here that's hidden that I can't see. I'm going to try and just reload it. I wonder if this is a kind of just a funky thing going on with the editor acting a bit strange. Let's try and reload it here and try again. Nope, it isn't the editor. It's something in here. I'm not seeing, Melina, I'm not seeing this right away. What we can do, maybe just to make this work. I see an end block here though, that shouldn't be in there. Yeah, it's weird. It's like picking it up here, but it's not running it. So yeah, I don't know. I can't see it right away. I need to spend a little bit of time with that, Melina. But for now, what I'm going to do is I will just, sorry?
That's okay.
Yeah, what I'm going to do right now is I'll just share my code with you real quick.
Okay.
And then so you have it, and then I will, actually, I'm curious what the problem is there. It's just not popping out at me in the right away. Sorry about that. Usually I can get it, but not that time. Okay, so let me just, oh, I wonder, I'm under direct message right here. Hold on 1 second. Wonder, I have to change it from one person.
I see
There
my
we-
pizza. My
There
pizza
it is.
moved.
Got it. So is everyone's like character bumping back and forth? Melina, that is the code. Sorry, that's the code in the chat right there for what I have going on in mine right now. Yeah, and I'll take a look at yours later. Is everyone's, sorry, I'll come back to here so you can see, everyone can see the code that's running here. Now, once this is done and you have your character, or so not your character, but your NPC running back and forth, you can start to do things like when your character touches that NPC, you can have a conversation with it. You can do things like you could animate the NPC, that it's kind of like moving up and down and animating as it walks back and forth. The NPC does not have to move like this, just back and forth. You could do something simple like you could have, and I'll come down here a little bit, you could have the NPC, which is the snail, follow the character around. So it could just follow him, and yeah, it could be something that follows him and wants to talk to him. There's all kinds of different options for making the, I guess what we're getting into here is we're getting into AI. Like we're starting to just touch on like building out kind of a little bit of AI, simple AI for your character and the NPC as they move around. Yeah, no worries, Kendrick. Thanks for coming. And I think from here, I'm just going to kind of pause because I've shown you like so much code and we've built out like a lot here. Like we're built a lot of levels and kind of talked a little bit about storyline and kind of looked at the code here. And I'm going to kind of pause and stop, and we have like 15 minutes or 12 minutes left. And yeah, we can just, if you want to ask me some questions or chat, yeah, I'd love to talk with y'all and see if there's anything else you'd like to chat about.
I have a question.
Sure.
So in the second level, I have my code set for my character to like populate on the stairwell.
Yeah.
But he's not populating there.
Where is he populating?
Just like on a random tile.
Oh, okay. So right here in your set tile map to tile map right here, right? You're changing the level by 1. Now you're calling the create level function. Are you setting, you can set the where the character appears right here inside. Here, I'll zoom in closer.
I have to like place my sprite on top of random, and then I set the tile to like the little stairwell starting piece.
Right.
Is that right?
And he's not appearing on there?
No.
Maybe try, rather than the stairway piece, choose the actual place of that tile map, which would be this one right here. Place my sprite on top of tile map column and row.
Okay.
So rather than the random, and I don't know why it wouldn't appear on the random, because it should, or maybe there's something else in your code running a bit off. Try that one, and you're placing it right here, right?
Yes.
Or place it underneath your call create level. Place it right here.
Like the
where you
the call
overlap.
on random.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. Place it over the this part right here.
Okay.
Like underneath the call create level.
Okay.
The only thing I could think is it's not before it, is it? It's after it. Like here it's after it, right?
Correct.
Because it has to create the tile map first, and then it should pick up the staircase. And once it picks it up, it should pop your player on top of the staircase. But
yeah, that didn't work either. I'll try the location one.
Yeah, try the location, and that should place it on that specific tile map. I have another bug. I didn't change anything other than changing the level and adding a bad guy. Okay, let's check this out. And I'll pull this over and here, and let's see what's going on. So, Angela, what is the bug exactly? Let's see here. Let's see, I'll pull it over to the right. Ah, you have an error. Okay. Actually, this is a really good chance for us to do debugging. I didn't get too much into it. What you can do here, Angela, is you come over to the side and there's a bug, like a little tiny bug right here. You can click on it and it will run your code and it will show you where the error is occurring. And it's running through your code, and it looks to me like the error is on top of your function, your lava function right here. So it's like having a problem right here. So I'm going to exit the debug mode. I'll pop this open. And it's something to do with your lava in here. It looks like, I'm not really sure why that is. My suggestion is try running it without the level going to level 2. So just try hit 0 here.
Hello?
And let's see
Oh,
when we
sorry.
run through here. Yeah.
No, that was an accident.
Oh. So let's see here. So set level to 0, call create level. And yeah, let's see. Some of the lava tiles overlap the new tiles. So let's see here. So okay, this one's got an error like somewhere, and it's something to do with your lava here. So let's see here. So you're setting the element array of lava, and it's setting the tile map here, but something is going on with your lava. Same with this one. I'm gonna need, like when you get deeper bugs like this that are a bit more problematic that I can't pick out right away, I just need a little bit of time with it. So I can't see where your bug is like immediately, but I could probably pick it out if I had a bit more time to work on it. So I'm just gonna leave your one, Angela, and I'll give you my code right here for mine. And yeah, you can use mine. Okay, anybody else with any questions or comments?
Am I okay to send you my code?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So let's see this one here. And what is yours doing?
Well, now it's doing nothing. I'm getting like a full on error message.
Okay, let's see here. So when I click A, we're getting, I wonder if yours is the same.
That
Yeah,
like
you're getting the same error as Angela.
ah.
Yeah, it's right here. It's something to do with the lava right here. So it's exactly the same problem as her. So let's see, what's it doing here? So we're setting the level to 0. We call create level, and that calls this code way down here. So let's come down here. And it sets the level to 0 and sets the tile map to this one right here, which has the red lava in it right now. Yeah, no worries. And okay, so it calls that, and then it comes back. And inside here, it comes down and it's coming all the way down, and it's failing on the call lava make function right here. So for some reason in here, it's saying that there's an error with this red lava block right here. So let's see why that is. So maybe I'm going to pull the lava and I'm going to put it like up top. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. I don't think it will. Yeah, it's still running the error. Huh. Well, this is a common. Oh, it's something to do with in here. Wonder what that is. Yeah, I just need a little more time with this one. I can't see the error right away, but if you're having like multiple people are having problems with it, I'll troubleshoot it and I'll email you the solution probably by tomorrow if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
I just can't see it. Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, no, that's okay. While you're in my code, do you mind checking my level 2, my character populating?
Sure. Down here. So right here. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. This is this the part you're talking about where your character appears right here?
Yes, but I have it. No, I'm finding it. To the left, down. Right.
I just don't see that I just don't see that code that's going to put your character on that block. So hold on one sec here. I'm just going to re-put it in for you. So let's come over here and let's zoom in and let's search up random. Should be here. So place my sprite on top of random. And where did you want it exactly? On this staircase? Right there?
Okay, this isn't my code. That's why I'm like, this is not.
Is that, oh, that's not yours. That's someone
No.
else's. I might have
That's
put it
why.
behind it. Is this one yours here? Maybe not. Hold
No.
on. Yours is Trista, right?
Yeah.
So I have multiple windows
No,
open
that's
here with
okay. I was like,
multiple
I
people's
see
code.
it.
You're like, I'm sure I did it. Hold on. I think this is it right here. I've got it now for sure.
No
There's no
worries.
question. Okay, hold on one second. I was like, I think I was clicking on the same code.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was. So hold on one sec here. So yours is actually, no, you got the lava error as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's something to do with
I
this
also have the
lava.
lava error.
Yeah, and it's something, yeah, I've got to figure that out. I don't know what that is. Let's come down here and this
Yeah.
right
That.
here. Right here.
Yes.
Right here. Place my sprite on top of random and you put two of them. So you could pull one out. You just want one of them. And it's not going to run because it looks like the lava is like stopping it from running. Like
Right.
it's not even letting it run. So I'm wondering here if we
But if you,
pull,
if I change it to level 1,
it'll work.
like it still didn't go there.
Let's see here. Ah, I see. So he starts
Yeah.
like over here instead of where he's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, no worry, Melina. Thanks. Let's see. Yeah, that is a bit odd because, whoops, I don't want to take your chunks of code out here. It should be putting him, let's see. So it starts on level 1, set tile map to that, place right, you have 14 and 1, which is 11, 12, 13, 14, and 1, which is, sorry, I'm taking chunks out of your map here. 14 and 2, 1, which is right on your thing here. So it should be placing them on top of there. And then it calls the NPC. Yeah, that is a bit weird. I don't know why it's not placing him there. I'm assuming it's something to do, I'm wondering it's something to do with this lava code here messing some stuff up. I'm just trying to figure out, I haven't seen this problem before. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. The game worked until we added a second on-game update. Yeah, so maybe, I'm wondering if this on-game update, if we run it, see it in this, let's just see. I don't know if this is gonna be a solution to our problems, but oh, here. Let's check that. 0. No, it's still running the error code. So it's not the game up. It's not the game update. It's something else in here that I'm just not seeing it. Not exactly sure what it is.
So when because I'm running into the exact same problem with, and then so when I was looking, or I don't remember what I pressed, but it did highlight that second on game update. So is there something that we have to set that like doesn't, I don't know, because the snake is only on level 2? Like, did we put the call? Oh, we did after the level. Sorry,
No, it's all good.
Yeah, never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm sorry. Thanks.
No, it's all good. So when I'm calling the create level, it's creating this level right here. And it's got all of the red blocks on it. And I'm just trying to figure out why the red blocks are causing the error in the creation of it right here. So let's come back. And door lock true, call create level. And yeah, I'm not seeing what it is, but it is failing on that function right there. And let's actually, sometimes if you step through it, so if I call it and yeah, it's not showing me exactly where it is, where that problem is. Interesting.
Do we have to get rid of the lava at some point? Like, I know that we sort of do, but do we need to sort of, like, is there a way to get rid of it completely? Is that the issue? Like, is it underneath level 2 for some reason?
No, I
No?
don't think so.
Okay.
It's like it's calling this function here, but it's not initialize this array. It's like running through this function, and it should be picking up all of the red blocks on here.
Mm.
You can see the lava in level 2. I see, because it's not destroying the lava. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting problem. Too bad it's right at the end when we have like all of
Right?
this stuff. It's like I've just never gone this far with a group before, and I've done it many times in the classroom, but I cannot see what it's something to do with this, and it's going to be very obvious after we get off the call what it is, but I can't see it right now. So here's what we'll do. Yeah, we're over. So I'm going to sort this out. And for now, yeah, you just have to leave it as it is. And I'll send you all an email once I figure it out with a little video, if that works for everybody. I just can't see it.
That's awesome.
And
Thank
yeah, we'll sort it
you.
out. Yeah, it's no worries. Sorry, it's like right at the end. It's kind of a bit of a bummer. It's like, almost got this like completed game, and then there's just like this huge error at the end. But whatever. This is how game design works and storyboarding works, so it's all good. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming out and trying this out. Bit of a bug at the end, but whatever. It's all part of game design. So I appreciate everyone coming out and trying this out and walking through the session with us.